Thank you so much for your time today, Luke. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I guess I wanted to just kick things off by finding out a little bit about where your passion for farming came from. Tell me a little bit about your background in farming.
Well, I grew up in Southwest Georgia, kind of the heart of the peanut belt. And my dad was a fertilizer. We owned a fertilizer and chemical and seed company. And then we owned a peanut mill that we operated in the fall to where we got the peanuts out of the field. And so my whole life has been nothing but farming. And growing up with a group of farmers in my circle that have just taught me how to navigate life, so farming is very, very important for me, and using Farm Tour to really showcase and build up what farmers actually do for the world.
Well, that was going to be my next question to you. Why is the farm tour versus regular touring so important to you?
Well, we do we bring a lot of awareness to the farming communities, and we go out to the farms and do the shows on the farms, and watching fans pile into these hay fields and come running to the stages, in the mid to late September when the air is cooling down. It's pretty special stuff.
For sure. So what enticed you to work with the National Pork Board?
They reached out and they loved what we were doing for Farm Tour, and we loved the message that they're wanting me to get behind. And we feel like, I feel like anytime there's potentially stuff farmers can be perceived in a negative light, it makes me kind of go up, call to arms, go to action. But the main thing when you look at just spreading the message of how clean and environmentally safe and pig farms are, and how closely monitored for the health of from the start of farming pigs to the time they land on the table, just how such a well-oiled machine of how that process happens, and just spreading the love out there for these hardworking pig farmers across the country.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. I know they're going to be super excited. You work with a lot of people from California and urban areas where basically agriculture is a bit of a foreign concept as they get further and further removed from the farm. What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that they have about farmers, and possibly even a step further with pig farming? So what do you think is maybe some of the biggest misperceptions out there?
Well, I think, as more large cities, people grow up in those environments. They just think that the food shows up at they think the grocery store grows the food. They don't really understand that every aspect from what you're able to be, what you're able, unless you're growing a very diverse garden in your backyard, you're leaning on farmers every day for the survival of your family, and to really put the connection with people in the big cities to understand that there's hardworking men and women out there, from the tomatoes to the green beans, and obviously to where you go get your pork. And then just to really make, anybody in, like I said, there could be a vision of what people may think pig farming looks like these days versus what they may have looked like many, many years ago. But these days, just, letting the population and know just how professional and ethical and the environment of all these pig farms and the scrutiny that they're under to make sure they stay that way is just to tell that to remove any misnomers of what people may think about the process of pig farming. And it's, it's just a great source of protein. I think we hear of people preaching, organic stuff or vegan or vegetarian and stuff, but for those out there that look to meat protein sources. I mean, you just can't do any better than pork.
Right. And it's improved so much. I think pig farming's changed a lot too. And so I feel like pig farming back from when I was a kid compared to what it is now is so different, but those consumers are further removed from that process. So I appreciate what you're doing to help bridge that gap.
Yeah, I think, education is critical for all segments of this country. And I think once they have a better understanding about it, it'll create an environment where they'll try pork more often because they feel good about the whole process.
Mm-hmm. I think music is definitely a way to reach people for sure. Obviously you do too. Why is music so effective, do you think, in reaching, audiences with any message? What makes music so special in that way?
Well, I mean, when you make music and you write music that speaks to a similar, I try to write music that I know my fans can really, really relate to, really feel like I grew up the way they grew up. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's the complete magic about music, is that I can stand on stage and tell my stories through songs and help heal people, help people relate, help their story get told. And whether it's country or rock or rap or whatever, that's what the connection to the fan and the artist is all about. That artist really speaking the fan's language, and that's how music ties people's life and memories together. And the song they heard when they fell in love, and the song they heard when they, walked down the aisle. So music just sets a ginormous emotion through our whole life.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is a lot of emotion in Country On. And I wondered if you could maybe share a little bit about what you hope people, and particularly farmers, take away from that song.
Yeah, I think, farmers, I reference farmers right in the front. I think farmers can be proud that I'm out there still trying to, tell the world about what they do. And, waking up, getting the day started at the crack of dawn is what farmers are good at. And I think, the whole song Country On just really showcases a pure American way of life, of hardworking Americans and people that sacrifice, and to let them not be forgotten. I mean, as society changes and grows, sometimes our policemen and firefighters and soldiers get shuffled to the back. So this song really sends a message to them of appreciation. And I think you can never do that enough, certainly in country music.
Yeah. So kind of a silly question for you, but when you think back to your childhood on the farm, what was one of your least favorite chores to do on the farm? What was one of the things that you don't miss doing?
Probably we had to clean out a grain bin elevator that was full of rotten grain, and you had to shovel it into a 5-gallon bucket and pull it up like a 20-foot ladder. It was the worst job I've ever had in my life.
I'm sure farmers can appreciate that you've been there and had to do that a little bit.
Definitely on that.
Yeah. Yes. So I guess my last kind of question for you is, again, I just want to take it back to the consumer. And if you had just a few minutes to be able to, talk to a consumer out there who doesn't know anything about pig farming, I guess, what do you hope they take away from your support of this National Pork Board's Mythbusting campaign? What do you hope they take away from that?
Well, I hope they take away a better understanding of how the process of farm to table, from the pork getting from the farm to the table, and just how well thought out, safe and clean and ethical that process is. I mean, I think when you look at just how valuable of a meat protein source pigs and pork pork are. It's just to really draw more people in and have a better understanding if anybody might have a negative connotation about it. And that way, when they're walking down the aisle and see pork, they don't worry about any aspect of how that happened. I think the more people are aware of where their food comes from, I think people are very aware of what's in their food, the process it took to get it there, and people can feel better about it once they do see this myth busting campaign and understand that this is all done the right way.
Right. Well, and it tastes good too. And let's not forget the obvious, but do you have a favorite cut of pork, or what's your favorite way to enjoy pork?
Oh gosh, it's just hard to beat a Boston butt that you smoke all night on the grill. So that's kind of my jam right there.
Yep, that's your jam.
And then there's ribs and bacon and so many other aspects. So.
For sure. There's a lot of great options. And I mean, you can't forget bacon. You know, bacon is always my favorite to add to anything.
Yeah, so. BLT is my favorite.
Do you get to eat a lot of pork while you're on the road?
Well, you know, we swap it up out here, but certainly hit up. You know, there's always bacon out here, and bacon feeds us out here. But yeah, and every now and then our caterers, they'll do rib day and get in there and eat some ribs. But yeah, we're always hunting barbecue joints and fun little spots to go when we're out on the road too.
Well, and you grew up in a great area for that as well. So
yeah, we got our South Georgia recipes. So beware, they're the best.
Yes. Well, I know that you're on a tight schedule today, and I want to respect your time, but I really appreciate what you're doing for the pork industry, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to get a visit with you.
Thank you. Glad to be doing it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.